Tonight on Reporting Texas TV, why Governor Abbott banned the vaccine passport in Texas and how it affects UT.
Also, find out what the next semester at UT will look like thanks to the COVID vaccine rollout.
And keep watching to see how musicians are finding new ways to keep Austin the live music capital of the world. Reporting Texas TV starts now.
Good evening, my name is Mackenzie Dyer and I'm reporting from Los Angeles, California.
And I'm David West, reporting from Austin, Texas. The rollout for the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine has been paused after 6 reported cases of a rare type of blood clots. The vaccine was first authorized by the FDA for emergency use on February 27th and has been administered to more than 6.8 million Americans. 6 women who received the vaccine experienced blood clots, with one having died from it. The FDA recommended a pause in the use of the vaccine out of an abundance of caution while they investigate. Right now, these cases appear to be extremely rare. Texas vaccinations have reached over 15.5 million recently, with over 20% of the population being vaccinated. It's possible to sign up for a vaccine appointment at uthealthaustin.org. This past week, a third strand of COVID-19 was found at UT. According to officials, it is potentially more contagious and may be less protected by vaccines and prior infection. However, medical experts say the vaccine is still thought to be helpful for this strain.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed an executive order effectively banning vaccine passports for the COVID-19 vaccine last week. His statement says that public institutions and organizations would stop receiving state funds if they implemented a vaccine passport. Reporter Libby Cohen tells us how the new order affects campus.
Lawmakers across the United States are arguing whether mandating a COVID-19 vaccine passport is constitutional. If enacted, the passport would allow vaccinated people to do certain things like eat in a restaurant or go to a library. UT senior Allison Stewart says it would make her feel more comfortable attending classes on campus.
I wouldn't want to go to class and not wear a mask and be next to someone who hasn't been vaccinated.
But UT is currently barred from making students show proof of a vaccination by Abbott's new order. Texas GOP Communications Coordinator Andy Hogue says state Republicans support the governor's order.
We do support our governor, and the Republican Party is generally against anything that restricts the freedom of motion.
The executive order bans mandatory vaccination because the vaccine only achieved emergency approval and not full approval from the FDA. But UT law professor Elizabeth Sepper says it's not illegal to ban an emergency vaccine.
No federal or state law prohibits private employers or entities from requiring a vaccine that has EUA approval.
Because there's nothing legally stopping the COVID-19 vaccine from becoming mandatory, Sepper says the ban on COVID passports comes down to politics.
The United States recently surpassed giving over 50% of adults at least their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Here at the Texas Capitol, GOP lawmakers made it clear that mandating the vaccine is not going to pass in Texas.
And I know this is hard because as Texans and as Americans, we value American individual liberty and freedom so much. But it's at this point, we have to come together as a collective.
Libby Cohen, reporting Texas TV.
Anyone who wants to get a vaccine can sign up at uthealthaustin.org and get their shot on UT's campus.
According to Austin health officials, over 10,000 vaccination appointments went unfiled as of this Monday. Austin public health officials say it's unclear as to why this happened, but are working on plans to bring vaccinations to smaller communities in the area. If you still need to get vaccinated, check out the Austin Public Health Scheduling Portal in order to claim these vacant appointment slots. A UT report released Monday shows how differently the COVID vaccine has been distributed in East versus West Austin. The report shows East Austin has a higher number of infections and more poverty and transportation issues. However, West Austin residents have received more vaccines. The report says the vaccine data may need to be updated and the amount of Austinites 65 years and older should be considered.
The fall 2021 semester will look very similar to pre-pandemic times, with nearly 92% of classes being held in person. According to an email from the university, only 3% of classes will be online since fewer students have been diagnosed with COVID, and many are vaccinated. The remaining classes will be hybrid. However, some students worry that UT is moving too fast.
It's going to be different for sure, and having to get used to that again. I feel like we should, take it step by step instead of us just going straight up in person. I feel like we should really start online and then kind of transition into in person online and then get into in person throughout.
Registration for the summer and fall will begin next week, and summer classes will be offered at a reduced rate. For more information, visit the UT course schedule website. Last week, a new voting bill in Georgia sparked controversy as state Democrats and Republicans debate their effectiveness. Senate Bill 202 would increase voting restrictions such as ID requirements for mail-in voting and limiting mail-in ballot box availability. The bill was signed by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp last Thursday and is facing opposition from state voting rights groups. It is going to proceed into the state's legislature for final approval.
The Biden administration is facing public criticism from environmental groups after not shutting down the Dakota Access Pipeline while it's under review. The pipeline has been a source of protest since 2016. Local Standing Rock Sioux tribes and other Native American supporters fear the pollution it could bring to the Missouri River. Environmental groups that back Biden and his bold climate platform feel that his actions after taking office have failed to live up to the promises he made. The Biden administration is yet to respond to these comments. Both sides rested this afternoon in wake of the ongoing trial of Derek Chauvin, the ex-cop charged with the death of George Floyd. Chauvin announced today that he does not plan on testifying on his behalf. The witness from yesterday, Dr. James Fowler, said Floyd was suffering from heart disease. Professors encouraged students to stay informed about not only the trial, but about everything in the news.
We need to pay attention to the events that lead up to these situations. To me, it's the equivalent of voting every 4 years for a president and not paying attention to midterm elections.
This Wednesday, Governor Abbott called for the closure of a San Antonio migrant housing facility for unaccompanied children. This comes after several anonymous reports of sexual abuse surfaced earlier that day. The facility is housing over 1,300 teenagers from Mexico. However, some are questioning the timing of Abbott's decision, claiming that he is politicizing the event now that President Biden has gained oversight of the programs, citing several past unanswered claims of sexual abuse in these facilities as evidence. The Texas Attorney General is suing the Biden administration. They're hoping to start the Migrant Protection Protocol again, which made asylum seekers stay across the border until their claims were approved. The program stopped all enrollments back in late January.
Coming up, 40 Acres Fest helps live music make its long-awaited return to the 40 Acres.
STAAR testing faces a setback this year after some technical issues. Find out how your child could be impacted up next. Live music made a return to the University of Texas campus last weekend. Andres Garcia has the story.
Finding people that would be willing to play such a last-minute show was really difficult.
Tiffany Chung helped lead the effort to bring live music back to campus for 40 Acres Fest this year. She said the volatility of the COVID situation made for many unique challenges in planning the event.
This year, we didn't even find out that we were doing 40 Acres Fest until I think March.
Usually around 10 artists perform at 40 Acres Fest. This year, only 2 took the stage. UT student Susanna Jaffe was one of them.
It's very validating to have people reach out to me about representing UT in that way.
40 Acres Fest was canceled last year due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. This year, event organizers committed to keeping everybody safe by requiring online check-in for contact tracing purposes, arranging the festival booths in a grab-and-go format, and mandating everybody who attended wear masks and social distance. UT freshman Samyam Lohani hopes for more of the same in the future.
Music was definitely one of the things that drew me towards Austin in the first place, so seeing it on campus just makes me feel a lot more present here than it usually would.
Artists and organizers are turning to each other to figure out the best way to safely and gradually get live music back up and running, while also providing COVID-safe remote alternatives in the meantime.
I definitely think that for the foreseeable future, everyone should have proof of vaccination before going into any like large scale events or concerts or anything.
We're exploring more options with like studio sessions and things like that.
Although the future of live and in-person concerts is uncertain, UT Events and Entertainment will continue to make sure their events adhere to CDC and university guidelines.
And for the most part, we have not only followed those guidelines, but exceeded those guidelines because we want students to be safe at our events.
Andres Garcia reporting TEXAST TV.
The multi-platinum Puerto Rican artist Bad Bunny just announced his North American tour for February through April 2022. The Grammy Award winner announced his last world tour. 4 of the first 5 shows are set to take place in the Lone Star State of Texas. El Paso on February 11th, Hidalgo on February 13th, Houston on February 16th, and Dallas on February 18th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. Last week, Senator John Cornyn joined leaders from the local music industry at Antone's to highlight applications opening for a $16.2 billion relief grant. Some businesses in the Red River Cultural District agreed on opening their doors by pledging to a set of safety guidelines. Ashley Manazzi has the story.
This is the first time in a year the Austin-based band The Greyhounds have performed in person. It's thanks to local and federal dollars that some venues are even open for bands to perform. The city of Austin deployed 4 grants to the music industry, totaling over $6 million.
We're doing the very best that we can to distribute money equitably, and to distribute money to those who need it most.
One of those is the owner of Empire Control Room and Garage on East 7th Street. Dave Machinist says he's been doing everything under the sun to raise money this year, including curbside and membership services.
It didn't stop the bleeding. So we were applying for grants and holding on to as many of our staff as we could. Our money was so low we couldn't afford to be closed anymore, and decided to reopen in our socially distanced concert on a grid model.
Empire and other Red River Cultural District businesses joined a safety pledge called Safe and Sound to follow CDC guidelines with reopening. Machinist owns multiple venues, but chose to only open up Empire Control Room because of its outdoor option.
I'm backstage at the sold-out show that normally would have over 1,000 people, but tonight they're capping it at 250.
Some public health experts say smaller crowds mixed with outdoor venues that follow CDC guidelines could be a safe way to watch live music.
When someone enters into the event, we really want to make sure that we maintain the social distancing, the good hygiene, including the hand washing, and also that mask use when they might be around others who are outside of their household or their bubble.
So between now and June, we have a lot of work to do. Safe and Sound is about holding those reins back until it's safe to do this stuff again, to have concerts without having to worry about social distancing.
In downtown Austin, Ashley Manazzi reporting TEXAST TV.
Machinist is offering Empire Control employees $50 in exchange for getting the COVID vaccine.
The Long Center plans to bring back live music this spring with a free, socially distant, and safe concert series for all ages. The Drop-In Drive by Subaru, a free 16-show concert series in partnership with ACL Radio, kicks off Thursday, May 27th, and runs through September 9th. For lineup information, visit thelongcenter.org for more details.
The Asian American actress Lucy Liu will officially be acting in her first superhero film alongside Zachary Levi and others in the DC Comics Shazam sequel, Fury of the Gods. The actress will be playing the villain Calypso, a descendant of Atlas, the Titan god. Shazam star Zachary Levi tweeted on Monday welcoming Lucy Liu to the cast. Fury of the Gods is expected to premiere on June 2nd, 2023.
Coming up, the Austin Football Club starts its first season this weekend.
What has been a cloudy week in Austin thus far looks to be moving toward potential thunderstorms. Denise Emerson has the latest for Austin's weather forecast.
Welcome back to Reporting Texas TV. I'm Denise Emerson, reporting from Austin. We can count on those April showers to keep our grass hydrated today. Make sure to take a rain jacket out with you because we will be seeing showers into tomorrow. We lost some sun today, so it's going to be a little cooler with a high of 69 degrees. We have a 64% chance of rain. The storm that started up in the afternoon will continue on for the rest of the day. And sorry to all the light sleepers, but thunderstorms will continue into the night with a 66% chance of rain and a low of 63 degrees. Humidity will also shoot up to 87% and we'll have low wind. Tomorrow, the sun will peek through the storms with a high of 83 and a low of 53. It's going to be a humid day, but the rain will clear up overnight. There is a 20% chance of rain on Saturday, and make sure to bring a light jacket wherever you go over the cooler weekend. It will start to warm up again next week, and if you want to get some sun, Wednesday is your day. We should see those showers come back late next week. That's all for weather. I'm Denise Emerson, reporting Texas TV. Back to you, David.
Coming up next, the 2021 Golf Masters has crowned a new champion, and Austin FC set to make its regular season debut.
And how Austinites are helping out their feathered friends by conserving electricity.
Welcome back to Reporting Texas TV. I'm Clark Dalton, reporting from the sports desk in Austin. This week, Hideki Matsuyama earned a historic victory at the Masters. Matsuyama is the first Japanese player to win one of golf's 4 major tournaments. He's the second player from Asia to achieve this feat. According to Bleacher Report, Matsuyama was spotted boarding his next flight to Chicago with his green jacket on the seat next to him. This Wednesday, Texas guard Joanne Allen Taylor was named Big 12 Women's Basketball Scholar Athlete of the Year. Taylor is UT's first women's basketball athlete to win the award since its inception in 2013. She helped the Longhorns reach their first Elite Eight in 5 years. Taylor is a mechanical engineering major with a 3.7 GPA. This Wednesday, the NCAA passed a one-time immediate transfer for Division I athletes in all sports, according to multiple reports. This means players can transfer and play immediately rather than having to sit out for a year. This will allow Texas basketball transfers Devin Askew and Timmy Allen to hit the hardwood right away in this upcoming season. NFL player Aaron Donald was accused of assaulting Vincent Spriggs last weekend at an after-hour club. Spriggs' lawyer Todd Hollis says the two bumped into each other inside. Afterward, an alleged altercation occurred outside. Spriggs is looking to press charges against the Rams defensive tackle for the alleged assault. Spriggs was reportedly hospitalized due to the injuries. This Saturday, Austin Football Club kicks off their regular season against the LAFC. Part owner Matthew McConaughey says Austin finally is a team that allows fans to root for the city. Austin FC named Alex Ring as their first ever captain this Wednesday. Head coach Josh Wolf said Ring was the natural choice because he's a born leader. Ring was previously the captain at the New York City FC during the 2019 season. I'm Clark Dalton from the Reporting Texas TV Sports Desk. Mackenzie, back to you.
After the break, why thousands of students were unable to take their STAAR test. Travis County Commissioner's Court approved an initiative this Tuesday trying to get you to turn your lights off at night. This effort asks for non-essential lights to go dark from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. to save the lives of migrating birds. They can get confused and disoriented from the lights, causing them to get lost and exhausted. This initiative can also conserve electricity and reduce light pollution.
April 6th was the first day of testing for students for the STAAR test statewide. Many opted to take the standardized test online over paper copies. However, technical glitches wouldn't let them take their exams. Reporting Texas, Kenny Jones find out how those involved are moving forward.
When she was called into work, Sarah Adams asked her mom to drive her daughter Kylie to her 7th grade STAAR test. When they arrived at the testing site, she received an email saying it was canceled.
When she called me back, she was like, "Don't tell me the darn thing's canceled or it's the wrong day." And I was like, "No, they canceled it." And she was like, I was about to kick her out of the car.
Cancellations happened statewide due to technical issues, affecting about 250,000 students who couldn't continue midway or even log in, causing panic for teachers and proctors. The Texas Education Agency issued a response saying the testing vendor responsible will be replaced for standardized tests moving forward. Families were able to opt out of the STAAR test without penalty this year, but high schoolers need to pass at least 5 end-of-course exams to graduate under Texas law. High School English 1 tests were rescheduled for this next Tuesday, but Kylie's test was canceled entirely.
Literally, they said that if you were going to take the writing one, then you don't have to take it and it doesn't count for anything. So I was very confused as to why you were going to take it in the first place.
But Northeast ISD's Aubrey Chancellor defends the test, saying there are reasons for it to stay.
One benefit of the STAAR exam is to get an idea of really where students stand. Some would argue that this year the STAAR exam was more important than ever because we really have no gauge right now on where students are falling.
In San Antonio, Kenny Jones reporting Texas TV.
The company administrating the STAAR test has faced technical issues before and has been heavily fined. Thanks for joining us tonight on Reporting Texas TV.
If you would like to check out any of our stories or our newscast, please visit reportingtexas.com. We'll see you next Thursday. Good night.